everyone, it's Katie and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. So you can subscribe, the button is always down below. Post video, lifestyle, panning, and more. And in today's video, we're gonna finally be doing my makeup inventory for 2022. This is crazy that we're finally doing this. I finally figured out my numbers and I'm really excited about this. These are videos I'm really excited to do, to reflect on and to view. I love seeing where my collection's at and that kind of stuff. And this is really fun, really fun. And yeah, this is super fun and I'm super excited. So basically, if you've never seen one of these videos before, basically I calculate the numbers for my collection. And I've been doing this since 2019, I believe. So I'll calculate how many primers I own, how many foundations I own, how many eyeshadows I own, how many palettes, and that kind of stuff. It's always fun to look back on. And I try to do these videos twice a year. So I'll do them in January and then I'll do it again in the middle of the year, the midpoint of the year, which is obviously June. And I'll kind of update you guys throughout the year how it's going. And this is just something I love doing and it's super fun for me. And I really love being able to show you where my collection's at. And as a project panner, because I claim that title, within the last couple of years, I've really felt like a panner, which I am. I mean, anybody's a panner, if you're actually trying to use stuff up, I consider you a panner. But that's a whole nother story. But I feel like I'm always trying to use up parts of my collection. And this is a good idea, just to look at your numbers for projects to be where should I decrease? And I always tell you guys in these videos, where I would like to see the collection go in each category. So yeah, if you're interested in seeing this, you're in the right place. Just keep on watching. Okay, so first, for primers, I have 3 in my collection, and last year, mid-year, I also had 3. So I don't think it's the same 3, but I did have the same amount of numbers. I'm okay with having just a couple primers, just 3 primers, and stuff. I don't really change up my primer too much, but I do still having the option. So I'm okay with having 3. I don't want to exceed maybe more than 5. I honestly think 3 is a perfect number. So I kind of want to keep this number stable, but I'm really happy with that. Foundations, I currently have 8. As you guys know, I am panning one of mine in the Partners in Cream project pan. So I do have 8. That is a little much. I don't ever want to have more than 10, for sure, 100%. But 8 isn't terrible, but I am trying to work on at least a couple foundations and projects this year to get those down in my collection, because I feel I don't, it would be one thing if I love all 8 of my foundations, but there are some foundations where I can take them or leave them. So I feel I want to pare this number down a little bit. I love trying foundations and there are currently foundations I want to try, but I'm controlling myself a little bit until I use some of my foundations up because I don't want to add more into my collection currently. But this number I would like to maybe pare down a slight bit, but I'm not overly I don't care too much, but I also want to pare it down a little bit, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So for concealer, I have 3. Midpoint last year, I had 4. By the way, from foundations, midpoint, I had 6, and then the beginning of the year, I had 6. But for concealers, like I said, I have 3 currently. Midpoint, I had 4. For concealers, I'm happy with the number I have. Honestly, I've been going through a concealer thing right now, where I don't love concealers, so I am kind of trying ones out, seeing how I feel, and stuff. I'm currently panning one, so I'm expecting to pare this down a little bit, but there are concealers that I'm intrigued about that I might want to try, but I'm gonna try and keep this number pretty stable from anywhere from 1 to 5, but I don't want it to get too insane. So powders, I do own 2. Midpoint, I owned 2. And then the beginning of 2021, I owned 1. I am working on 1 right now, so I'm expecting to get this number out down to 1. I honestly, having 1 to 2 powders in my collection is completely fine with me. Like, I don't really see the need to have excess amount of powders. I'm not crazy, like powder crazy, if that makes sense. So I don't know, we'll see. Like, I would love to keep this at like a 1 to 2 base. I don't see there being need for like tons and tons of things. Like, when it comes to the base products, I typically just like to have like just a standard few and not like a ton. So eye primer, I only have 1. Last year, midpoint, I did have 2 and stuff. And this is something that I want to keep down to 1. I feel there's only a need to have like 1 eye primer at a time. Like, I just don't really see myself like going for multiple primers at a time, if that makes sense. Like, I think having 1 is good. Okay, so blushes, I have 21. Last year, midpoint, I had 18, and then the beginning of the year, I had 10. So it hasn't gone crazy since the midpoint. I have definitely added ones into my collection, and I believe I wrote down how many creams I have, and 8 of those are creams, so I'm okay with that. I do kind of want to add more cream blushes to my collection. That's just how I'm feeling. I'm also panning a few cream blushes. I'm not saying I'm going to pan all of them completely up, but I am panning a few like currently, and I would love to like use some of these up. I would love to get a blush out of my collection. Not saying I will, but I do want to keep this number no more than 25, I would say. But I do want to kind of try and maybe pan blushes this year. But yeah, the number seems a little crazy, but it's also not too crazy. So blush palette, I wrote 0. I will explain this when I get to highlights / face palettes, because I have like a couple in that category. But for blush palettes, I'd say that's 0. And honestly, I didn't mention it. I don't think I mentioned it since 2020, but I kind of ex-nayed that last year just because I didn't really have any, and so I wasn't mention that as a category, but I do want to mention it, I guess, now. So bronzers, I have 7 currently, which is really insane. I also might be decluttering one because I'm just not like happy with it. So I might be decluttering one. Maybe I'll do like a makeup declutter soon, but I might be decluttering one bronzer. I'm debating on it. But I do want to work on bronzers this year. I want to try and get usage on bronzers this year. So we'll see. But honestly, I don't use bronzer that much. And at the midpoint, I believe I only had 2. And then the beginning of the year, I had 3. So I don't know what happened there. Like, did I use one up? I can't remember. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Okay, so for my highlight and face palettes, I do own 2 and stuff. Last year, I had 1. And then before that, I had 3, then 2, then 2. And so this number stayed pretty stable. I want to keep it like this. I do have 2. I have like the Smashbox one, and then my mom just gave me an Ofra one, which I'll probably put in a project because we all know how I feel about Ofra. I'm sure like we all have somewhat of a consensus of a feeling on Ofra. I'd like to keep this number pretty much pared down. So having like 2 highlight or blush and highlight palettes is good to me. So yeah, that's where I want to keep that. So highlights, we all know I go crazy for highlights, and in that case I have 25. This number hasn't gone up, which I'm kind of like, did I miscalculate my numbers? I think I've also used up a highlight, which I won't say when that happened because that might be a spoiler for a project, but I'm panning so many highlights right now. Who knows which project that is and stuff. So I think that's why, but yeah, that number is at 25. It is insane, but I do really like highlights, but that is also a number I'd like to pare down. So I'm going to try and work on highlights and projects this year. I'm going to try and, work on that. And actually, I'm thinking that number might be actually 26, just for the fact that I had this highlight in another drawer, which I didn't really consider. So yeah, that number actually might be 26. And yeah, it seems insane. And I do want to pare down my highlights like I mentioned, but we'll see where that number goes. I definitely would love to get it down, but we'll see. I really love highlights, so that's kind of an area where I'm like, okay, if you go a little insane, it's somewhat okay. Color correctors, I kind of ex-nayed that as well, but I do own 1 color corrector from LA Girl, and I do like having them on hand for when I have like tons of redness to kind of conceal that. and kind of tone it down. And color correctors is honestly something I do want to like do more research on, like which ones are good, because I do want to try some out because they are nice if you have like a pesky like pimple, or if you have like just redness on your skin. I do think they're nice to have on hand. So yeah, that number, I don't want it to exceed more than like maybe like 3, but I'm okay with that. So for single shadows, I have 51. I had 42 at the midpoint last year, and then I had 26 before that in the beginning of 2020. And yeah, this is a little insane. I did use up one single last year. And I'm also counting, like, when you get those quads in Ipsy, I'm counting those as single shadows and stuff, because I don't really want to consider that a palette. It's complicated. So that's how I'm also counting them. And then I also get like singles in Ipsy sometimes and that kind of stuff. But yeah, 51's a little crazy. I would like to pare that down and stuff. So yeah, we'll see on that. So for palettes, I have 46. I did end up adding a few palettes last year into my collection, and of course I probably will this year. Let's be honest, there's going to be a launch that'll launch at some point this year. I haven't yet, but we're only in January. That'll like really intrigue me and I'll want it. But as of right now, we're standing at 46, and that's up 5 since the middle of last year, which I'm like, where did I add 5 palettes? I guess I know I added one in August. I don't know where else I added one, but you know, we're at 46 and that's not terrible. So contour palettes, I do have one, and that is like the Tarte one, the like Pro Glow one. I do own that one. And yeah, it's the only one I will ever own in my opinion. So yeah. Eyebrow gels, I have 2. I did have 1. Basically my whole time of doing makeup inventories, I only owned 1, which is kind of insane to me and stuff. So I do own 2 currently. I am currently trying to use one of them up because I just don't love it. But eyebrow gels, I really only need 1 in my opinion. So glitter glues, I also only own 1 and only have ever owned 1. There's just only 1 on the market that I really love and I really need. So I just stick to that 1, and I will never need to stick to more than 1. So for mascaras, I own a 5. That is a little insane for me. I will mention I do have 3 opened. 2 of them are full size. One of them is a sample size and stuff. And then I have 1 mini that I haven't opened yet. And then I also have one I got for free in a Pinch Me box that I haven't opened yet, and I believe that's it. But I go by the 3 to 6 month mascara rule, where I'll use my mascaras up in that time. Basically I know when a mascara is going bad because my eyes will get super irritated. So 5 is a little crazy. I would like to pare that down to maybe like a 3, but I also in 2019 I had 8 mascaras, so I guess that's not terrible. But I would also like to say a couple of them are minis, so that's not too insane, but I would like to pare that down just slightly a bit. So for glitters, I have 3, and they're mostly like liquid glitters. I'm not crazy on these, so this might be something I would like to omit eventually from my collection. I don't know, maybe having like 1 to 2 on hand wouldn't be a terrible idea, but I definitely want to use some of these. And as you guys know, in my rolling project, I do have one of my steel glitters in that. And I do want to kind of try and use those up in a sense. So working on it. I'm working on it. So for eyeliners, I have 2, which I was kind of surprised about. I was like, I only have 2. I like never use eyeliner, so that's kind of what I was surprising. And technically one of them is a pot eyeliner, but it's like a rose gold shade. So I typically just use it for either an eyeshadow topper or like an eyeshadow, like an actual eyeshadow. So that one I did want to put in the eyeliner category because that's technically what it is, but technically I would use it as if it were a shadow. So it's one of those complicated things. But eyeliners, I think last year midpoint I had 2 also, and then before that I fluctuated between 3 and 2, so I'm doing pretty good with that. Shadow sticks, I have 1. I also had 1 in the beginning or the middle of 2021, And then I had 2, 3, 2, and then 1. So, and honestly, I never use shadow sticks, so I do want to keep this at like a 1. But it's honestly another part of my collection I might want to omit at one point where I don't have any. That'd be nice because I don't really use them too much, and I definitely should roll that one in either to a project or just roll it in like a Shop My Stash. So Bolt lipsticks, I have 13. In the middle of the year, I had 11, and then I had 10, and then I had 16, and then I had 19, and then I had 28. That's insane to me. This, I am trying to work on my Bolt lipsticks. Little by little, I'm trying to use them. I also just want to use them in general, so we'll kind of see how that goes. I believe I might have used up a lipstick, maybe not last year, but in 2020, I definitely used up a lipstick or 2. They might have been minis, but that still counts. And that's something I kind of want to try and work on using more, but I definitely add some. 13 isn't terrible. I do love Bolt lipsticks, so I'm okay with that. I also just recently ordered stuff for ColourPop, so this is all counted within my numbers. So I believe I ordered like one of the lippy sticks, which I'm counting as a Bolt lipstick, so I'm excited for that. So lip balms, I have 5. Lip balms are weird because like the ones I have seem very pigmented, so it's almost like I want to combine that with my Bolt lipsticks, but I'm going to keep them as lip balms currently. And I do have 5. I do want to keep this kind of like anywhere from 3 to 5. I don't want to exceed that, so we're going to keep that one stable. Lip liners, I have 3 midpoint, and in the beginning of 2021 I had 2, so I have added 1 since then. It's actually a Charlotte Tilbury one, which I absolutely love, but this is one I would like to keep pretty stable. I don't love lip liners. I don't always reach for them, but they're, I guess, great to have on hand. Lip oils, I have 3. I did just purchase 2 from ColourPop, which I'm super excited for. I can't wait to get that stuff in. Maybe I'll do like an Instagram haul or like a haul on TikTok or something and stuff. We'll see. But I do have 3, like I mentioned. Last year I had 1, and then I fluctuated between having 0 and having 1. And I think that's just due to the fact that lip oils are just a lot more popular right now. Like they're really trending. So yeah, and they feel great. I mean, why wouldn't you want to own one? So liquid lipsticks, I own 15. Last year I had 17, and in the beginning of the year I had 15. I don't really like liquid lipsticks, so this is something I feel like I'm trying to pare down. I definitely don't want to have more than 10. I would love to get that number down to 10. Is that realistic? I have no idea, but maybe that can happen. We'll kind of see, and that's just a number I want to watch. So glosses, I have 11. I had 9. I absolutely love glosses. I live for glosses, so this is the number. If it gets to 15, that's totally okay. As long as I'm using my glosses and rotating them, I'm completely fine with that. Pigments, I have 2. One of them is technically a, I forget what they're called, just a really pigmented shadow, like a duochrome. Yeah, that's what it's called, but it's in liquid form. But I'm counting it in that category because I didn't really know where to put it, and I feel like it's almost like the same idea. So that's where I'm counting that. And I do have 2 of those. I was pretty much always had like 1 of those, but yeah, that's where we're at with that, and not really mad about it. Setting sprays, I have 1. I also had 1 mid-year, and then I didn't have 1. I always want to have 1 on hand because I do like setting sprays as like fixing sprays to put on like after I finish my makeup, especially like just not even to lock your makeup in, but just to make it like look good, make your highlight look dewy like it does today. Like, look at that. Beautiful. But I always just like to have 1 on hand. I don't really think I need more than maybe like 3, but definitely keep having 1 on hand is even fine. Like, I don't feel like I need a ton of setting spray. So brow pencils, I have 1. I don't really use brow pencils that much. I don't really love them and stuff. I just don't really feel like I need them. I do have like generally thick eyebrows, so gels work completely fine, but that's okay. I've pretty much been stable with that 1 since 2020. But yeah, we'll see if that number grows at all. I mean, I hope it doesn't because I don't really need them, but we'll see what happens. Then Illuminators, I have 2, and I pretty much want to keep this number stable, you know, use the ones I have, but we'll see what happens. I love a good glow, so having like a product like this isn't like a terrible thing to me. So yeah, we'll see on that one. And yeah, these are my numbers for the 22 year, the beginning of the year for my makeup inventory. Let me know what your guys' numbers are down below. Like, what are your crazy numbers? What are your like good numbers? Where do you want to see your collection go? Let me know down below. I'd love to hear about it. And yeah, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Post lots of panning content and lots of beauty and lifestyle videos. I hope you will subscribe before you go. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.